Always. Every shoot I do, the best one is the last shot.
So today you just finished an explosive shooting with Crash magazine. Wasn't it too hard?
Oh, it was très difficile. I spent the entire day with two magnificent young men in their underwear, feeding them French fries, and it was hot and hot and très hot. Yes. No.
I read on the internet. I made a bit of research on you, and I was quite impressed because I read somewhere that your career started because you be elected second runner-up at Miss America. So that's amazing. You're a model, you're a film actress, and you're a musician too.
Well, you know, when I was young, I had a mother, and she was very much involved in my career, and I did beauty pageants.
Yeah.
Beauty pageants are a very American thing. I don't know if here in Paris you have them.
I was working for Miss Luxembourg actually.
So
that's why
understand.
I know, and that's why I noticed directly when I read about your biography. Yeah.
But I think that beauty pageants, people can make fun of them, but they teach you so many things. They teach you about competition, poise, walking. You know, you have to have discipline, keep your figure. So it was good to do at 18. It was a wonderful thing to do. You know, at 18, oh my God.
Your new album, Opus, which is coming out next September, shows some very interesting musical evolutions. What were your inspirations?
Well, this was my third album, and I decided, I was very inspired actually by a band called Sir that had written for me my first two albums, and I learned a lot about songwriting from working with him. And then that sort of made me realize that I could write my own album, and I decided to write my own album. And I think I was inspired by fantasy, my own dark, fantastical imagination, really, and just the pain of being human and all of the different emotions that we all go through, and making it into something bigger than life, really.
So actually this is your first time that you're writing your own songs.
Yes,
wow.
I know.
It is a lot more darker and electro as your past albums.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sort of was propelled by a crisis in my life, and suddenly I just had this idea to take that and make it into something powerful. Because the album ultimately is, maybe it's about betrayal and about pain and about love gone wrong and obsession, but ultimately it's about taking control of your life and being powerful.
Wow, okay, that's weird. Can you tell me also a bit about your new song, which is called Losing You?
Yeah, well, it's a crazy song. It's kind of about I wrote it, you won't believe where I wrote it. I wrote it in Paris.
Oh,
yes, I wrote it at the Plaza Athénée.
Okay.
The Plaza Athénée at 3 in the morning. I was very anxious, and I woke up and I just wrote it. And I remember my son was staying there, and he had come back from a club, and he came in and I said, "Look what I just wrote." And he goes, "Mom, that's good." So that was about 4 years ago, and it's finally come out. Yeah.
You were being produced by Jeff Bova, am I right? Yeah.
Yes.
How did you meet him?
Well, Jeff, I actually went around the world looking for producers. I worked with a producer named Ivor Guest, who produced Grace Jones's Hurricane. I don't know if you know that album, because it's one of my favorite. That's one of my inspirational albums, Hurricane. And he produced one of the tracks on the album.
Okay.
And then I worked with a producer named Mark Stanley in New York, who worked with David Bowie and Cyndi Lauper.
That's incredible names.
Yeah, I know. And he produced a track called Stuck on You. And then I met my manager, Mick Rossi, and he also manages Jeff Bova. And Jeff and I met, and he decided to produce the rest of the album. So I was very lucky. Yeah.
You had the luck also to work with Paul Grabowski in 2011. So it was for your second album, Cheers Again, which was also a very nice collaboration.
Yes, well, Paul Grabowski is a very famous composer, musician in Australia. He's probably not known too well outside of Australia, but he is mostly known for jazz.
Okay.
And I sang jazz for maybe about 6 or 7 or 8 years. I sang in jazz clubs. So this album is a fusion of jazz, and it's a beautiful album with about 14 instruments. I know.
That's a lot.
It was a big album. Yeah.
In France, actually, most people discovered you by playing the role of Diana for the V series.
Yes.
So for me, it's kind of interesting to ask you, from where do you get your love for music?
Well, when I was 5 years old, I sang for the first time in a talent contest. And I sang all through school. I played instruments and sang. And I wasn't sure whether to be a singer or an actress when I moved to New York City. And I started to get work as an actress, so I stopped singing for many, many years. And I didn't go back to it probably till about 12 years ago.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. And it's been a huge learning curve for me.
Amazing. So you can really see some kind of evolution in all your albums. And
yeah, well, I realized when I got back to singing, it wasn't enough to sing.
Yeah.
That one had to write, one had to be involved in every aspect of their career. So I thought I could just be a singer, but actually I've had to learn a lot of skills. Yeah.
Obviously, I have to ask you some question about the old V series.
Of course, of course.
I heard some crazy backstage stories about old special effects with mouses, spiders.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
so what was your most difficult, challenging experience when you were playing Diana?
Well, of course, I did have to work with a lot of creatures,
Yeah.
and mostly, I think, spiders and lizards and eels. I had to swim with eels in a bath of eels, and I had to pick up that horrible rat. So I guess that was probably the hardest part for me, being challenged by the animals, because I hate spiders, I hate lizards. Sorry, and I was a lizard. No, but no, I know. And I think also I'm actually not as brave as I appear. I always play very strong, brave women.
Yeah.
But I'm actually quite a chicken, and I had to do a lot of gunshots and explosives and things where I was shot and then, you know, kind of have explosives on me.
Yeah.
So that was all. It was all challenging.
How can you explain the success of playing Diana among science fiction fans? Because your position is really, you have so many fans. How do you explain this?
I don't know. I think it's a crazy thing. I think you're very lucky if you do science fiction. Science fiction, horror films, there's fans like no other fans. They never forget you, they love you forever, and they're very vocal. So I think I was lucky to be doing science fiction. Also, I was very young and beautiful, and I played a very powerful, evil character. So all of that together made for a huge popularity.
Okay. If in 10 years a new producer wants to do a new season of V, would you accept to play again?
Well, I have just been killed, as you know.
Oh.
I went back and did the new V 3 years ago. So I've already done the new V, and they killed me.
You never know.
You never know. Yes, I could be, and I was the grandmother. So maybe now I would be the great. I don't know what I would be, but I don't think that I am that excited about doing it again.
You will more focusing on your personal musical career, am I right?
Yeah, and also independent projects. I just finished doing a movie in Spain, and I did a short film in Paris, and about 3 months ago. And I think for me, also, I'm very interested in performing in the clubs, doing dance music. I performed in Sweden recently and performed at 2 amazing gay clubs, and it was an extraordinary experience.
I can imagine that people were very happy to receive you.
I loved it, yeah.
We were talking firstly about Paris, so I got some interesting questions. Somebody said to me yesterday that you are able to speak a bit of French.
Oui, yes, je parle un peu français. Oui, je suis très heureuse à Paris parce que Paris est la vie d'amour.
Oh,
Oui.
bravo, bravo.
Merci, merci. I try. J'essaie.
What are your favorite places here in Paris?
Well, definitely the hotel, Park Hyatt. I'm not just saying it, but they treat me so good, and I love it so much. I love all the amazing museums, you know, the Grand Palais, the restaurants. I like to go to Hotel Costa when I'm here. I like the Champs-Élysées. I like Saint-Germain. Oh, where do I like? I love Paris. I love the beauty of Paris, the buildings, the art. I think it's an extraordinary city to visit.
One last question, the most important. You got a very interesting magazine, just lying there.
Yes.
What are you thinking about Crush magazine?
Well, I think Crush is a perfect fit with me because it's edgy, it's sexy, it's contemporary, and I think it's the magazine of now.
Wow. Thank you so much for this interview, and Crush Magazine's team wishing you a lot of success
Thank
for your
you.
career.
Thank you so much. Merci beaucoup.